You know, we've talked a lot about Rotary moments and stories throughout the year, and I think that our lives in Rotary are full of Rotary moments. And so you can't just pick one experience. So I figured I would choose a new experience this evening, one that I haven't shared before to members of my district, because, you know, why do they have to listen to the same story over and over again? So the first one that I'd like to share with you is something that influenced my perspective on the world. And in November 2013, I joined past District Governor Elise Cadigan and her team that was traveling to Abuja and Kaduna, Nigeria. And we were going there for project development. We have a long history of relationships with this district. While we were there, Ann Lee Hussey, a past district governor, was there leading a team, and they were there to do polio immunizations. So one day, we were invited to join them as they went to a village to celebrate the completion of a project that Ann Lee was instrumental in helping develop and find the funding for. So when we arrived to this small village, there were many teen girls and adult women, and they immediately came around us and they wanted to talk to us, they wanted to touch us, they wanted to hold our hands. But there was one young girl in particular that grabbed my hand and held on tight and didn't let it go. She stayed with me the entire day. And I think her picture is up on the screen right now. She was a young, beautiful girl who just had such joy, because what was happening that day is that we were in a village and they didn't speak English, and we didn't know what they were saying. There were a few translators there, but most of the day they were busy with Ann Lee and doing her part of it. So we were just kind of hanging back and watching. And what was important to them at the time was that it was the human contact that she wanted. She wanted to hold our hands and for us to have that human contact with one another. So as we sat there holding our hands, watching the day unfold around us, I began to think about the opportunities and the obstacles that she would face in the world, and just how different her life would be from my own daughter's lives. As the day progressed, I eventually found out that this young lady had not one, but two children. She had a little boy who was toddler age, and then she had an infant. And that affected me deeply, because I understood that her experience would be completely different than anything that I could ever imagine. So it moved me deeply. But then something else happened that was even more emotional and difficult for me. You see, this was Ann's day, so we were just hanging back, watching, observing what was happening around us, hanging out with our team, the girls, and this older man approached me. And he wanted to talk to me. He was very insistent that he needed to talk with me. But there was the language barrier again, because he wasn't speaking a language that I understood. So he grabbed me by the arm and he dragged me over to where there was a Nigerian Rotarian who could translate for us. But what this man wanted to say to me and what he shared with me was how important the solar panels that their village had received were, and the clean water that it supplied. And he kept thanking me for this, and I kept saying, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it was them, but thank you, but it wasn't me. And they kept on thanking me. And then at one point, he then said to me that you need to understand what my life was like. Our lives were like being in a hole, and now that we have clean water and we have these solar panels, you have helped us dig out of that hole. And then he pointed at me and he said, you brought us hope. And I had been in Nigeria for probably a week and a half at that point in time, and I thought I'd held it together pretty well. But the combination of those two things broke my heart a little bit. And I have really never told this story to anybody back home, because it was really difficult for me to share. And what I realized at that point in time as he was sharing that story with me was that he knew and he understood that I was a Rotarian, and that was what he was identifying with me. It was that Rotary, and we helped bring hope to them. So that was the story that I'd like to share with you. Thank you for listening, and enjoy your dinner.